A question that a lot of us asked after Call of Duty Cold War was where Lawrence Sims went and where Helen Park went. And we wanted to know if that question was going to be answered in Call of Duty Black Ops 6, or if we were going to get a mention of either of those characters, or maybe an update on them. There was a lot of conspiracy theories, there was a lot of videos made on those particular two characters, as they had a pretty cool and big growing fan base, especially Helen Park, for reasons unknown, of course. But both Lawrence Sims and Helen Park were important characters to the story of Call of Duty Cold War. Lawrence Sims served with Adler in Vietnam, and Helen Park was an old friend of Adler from many years prior, who was British, and she was part of MI6. In 1981, Russell Adler reached out to both Lawrence Sims and Helen Park to help him in the search for Perseus. They worked alongside Frank Woods, Alex Mason, and the team to capture the Soviet spy. In the end, they were able to stop the Cold War, but they were unsuccessful in capturing Perseus. 1984 would be the last time that we saw either of the characters. Helen Park would help Adler, Woods, and Jabari Salah in securing a satellite crash site in Algeria. That would be the last time that we saw Helen Park. And for Lawrence Sims, the last time that we saw him would be in April of 1984, where Sims was part of a rescue team that was led by Frank Woods, who was sent to Laos to save Russell Adler, who had been captured by Perseus operator Victor Stitch Kuzemin. Now that was also the last time that we heard or saw of Sims. But in Call of Duty Black Ops 2, we get an answer to where these characters are. And the story takes place in 1991, so about 10 years after the original Cold War game. Helen Park would still be working with MI6 by 1991. In February 5th of that year, Park would be deployed to Iraq with British Special Air Service members, part of a coalition force to stop Saddam Hussein's forces in Iraq. She would receive a call from Russell Adler asking for her help in accessing Saddam Hussein's bunker underneath his palace. Park would agree in exchange for the team and Adler helping her in destroying some Scud launchers. Now, after the mission would be successful, both Adler and Helen Park would kind of part ways and say goodbye. But what I find interesting is that if we look into her bio, she is part of the rogue Black Ops team that is considered dead by the CIA and being hunted by Jackson Kane and his Crimson One operators. Now, Daniel Livingston put together the rogue Black Ops team to find out who exactly is in charge of Pantheon and kill them. So it seems to me that Helen Park will continue to work with Russell Adler, Troy Marshall, and the team in the upcoming Warzone stories. So her story will continue. However, for Lawrence Sims, things seem a little bit different, as it seems that he left the CIA at some point after 1984 because he grew increasingly disturbed by the questionable ethics of the CIA agency. So he would re-enlist in the United States Army, and he would eventually attain the rank of captain. He would be assigned to CENTCOM, which is the United States Central Command, and in 1991 he would be working during Operation Desert Storm, and he would be deployed to Iraq. And Lawrence Sims would also get contacted by Russell Adler as he needed his help in finding out who Pantheon was. Now, Lawrence Sims at this point was kind of hesitant to take on that mission, not because of his relationship with Russell Adler, because clearly they have a very good friendship, but it was more so because Sims didn't want to be involved with the CIA and any of their operations anymore. He wanted to be, as he put it, on a different path. And that path was with the United States Army at CENTCOM. And he seemed like his morals and his principles were in a higher place, and he didn't want to be involved with the shady business that the CIA was doing.
It's above the table. Unambiguous. Maybe you should give it a try.
No, no, it's a little late for me. So can you get us to Gusev?
I can get you close. But Doc, this is it for me. I'm on a different path now. Once you get what you need, I'm out.
It's the second time I've heard that this week.
Lord, give me strength. Get your crew. You leave in 5.
So Lawrence Sims would help Case and Russell Adler capture Gusev, and then after this mission, Sims would tell Russell Adler that this was the last time that he would be doing any type of work with the CIA. Again, I don't think it was because of Russell Adler and his relationship. I think they had a good relationship. They served together in Vietnam. They served together in the CIA. But I just think that Lawrence Sims, he put it best. He's on a different path. He doesn't want to be involved with that stuff anymore, so he moved on. So as for Lawrence Sims, I do not think we're going to see him in the Warzone story, and I do not think that we'll probably ever see him again. I think this was a goodbye goodbye to Lawrence Sims. Unless something happens with Gusev, like maybe Pantheon tries to get him back or tries to get revenge by killing him, and then maybe Sims gets caught in the crossfire. That would be the only way that I see Sims coming back. Otherwise, it seemed like a pretty good bye to Lawrence Sims. But we now know what went on with these characters after Cold War and where they are in Black Ops 6. Helen Park is still part of MI6, and it looks like she joined Russell Adler in the Rogue Black Ops unit, and it looks like Lawrence Sims left the CIA, re-enlisted in the Army, is part of US CENTCOM, and is on a different trajectory than his former allies.